Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is Channel Gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Hi, I'm attorney GavinRichardEsq. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jello, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, We discuss both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why a trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful Sunday. And if it is Sunday, then that can mean one thing. It is Random Topic Sundays only on Channel Gboot2786. Shout out to all in the chat. If you're watching on Gboot2786 or Gavin Richard on Facebook, thank you. Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you're blessed and doing safe. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, as you know, versus William H. Cosby Jr. is available on Kindle. We are welcoming you all to please come on in to the chat. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen. Step it up. But yes, you can get this available on Kindle now. The paperback version is coming soon. There's some technical issues that I have had that I'm trying to work out now. Should be coming soon. But you all please come and check out the show. If you want, just purchase it on Kindle if you want. That's actually the easiest way. But paperback version is coming soon. All right, well, we're going to get started. And our topics for today is Random Topic Sundays on our channel, Gboot2786, is the following. Bill Maher opens up his mouth to talk about slavery. Brett Favre caught up in welfare scandal with several other Mississippi officials, politicians, and Piper Lewis ordered to pay restitution in the amount of $150,000 to her rapist's family. We'll be discussing this and more, ladies and gentlemen, on our channel. Of course, you saw what I was talking about with the Patreon and advertising. If you have a Black-owned business, we'd love for you to advertise with us. You can email us for rates. Also, if you would like to, if you want to subscribe to our Patreon for some other content as we're moving stuff over from here to YouTube, from YouTube to there, you can do so. But in order to support this channel, as it's not monetized, I'd ask if you could please donate to the Cash App, the PayPal, and Zelle. We would ask if you can please support our channel. Also, I'd like for you to contribute to this channel. Also, if you'd like to purchase some Creole seasoning blend, you can go to nonny'screoleblends.com. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nonny's goes great with every dish. And of course, we have our theme songs, Gotta Get On Up, and Video Soul, which are available on various music streaming platforms. So you please want to check that out. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get on up and let's get this thing started.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show them what you got. You gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
play the whispers, rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. Gotta get on the floor, baby. Come on, baby. Gotta get on the floor, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor. All right, feel the groove, get on the floor, get on up, smash. All right, I don't know what's going on. Had some Wi-Fi issues, I guess, importantly. What's up, family? What's up? Buffering, yeah. Ain't got no LTE. No, I have, like, you know how it is when you're in a certain part of the house. If you have a large house and your Wi-Fi reaches up to a certain point, some areas of the house it doesn't connect to. Well, we have the extension. So this is what I'm going to do. Because it's currently connected. Okay, we're good to go. Oh man, hope everyone is doing blessed. I hope everyone is blessed and doing safe right now. Thank you, Darius from Atlanta. It's good to see you, my brother. Shout out to all my family. Um, a lot going on in the news. We're gonna get to you in a minute. But I like to, yeah, hit that like, share, subscribe button. But I want anybody that has a business, if you're interested in advertising, I've had people approach me and don't follow through. If you're interested in advertising your business, we are open to do business. We are open. We love to advertise, especially struggling Black-owned businesses. We love to support them, support small businesses in any way, shape, or form. So come on in and hit me up via email and do it if you have a business you want to promote. So please do so. Uh, let's see here. Sorry about that. So a couple of things caught my attention before we get started. As you know, November is not that far. We only got like a month and a half, a month away. I want to say a month and a half, roughly. And already the shields are out, on MSNBC. If anybody watches that network, which is, well, I didn't know they do. They got at least one viewer.
Roland made a really
Roland Martin watches it. So they sent out this flunky, Tiffany Cross, to basically say black men in particular, should just vote for nothing because you don't want to go on the side of the Republican. That's the oppressor. So this is what she had to say.
I will say, a lot of black men sometimes feel like they're ignored or they're put down, particularly sometimes even by black women in the media. So this is not that. But I do hear Roland's point that felt ignored. But you feel ignored, and then you go over to the other side. The oppressed feel oppressed. So then you go and try to align with the oppressor. So I'm not putting black men down, but sometimes it's like, well, some of you Kevin Samuels following Tariq Nasheed quoting people, please look at the truth and see what's happening and get in line with some of the black women.
I think her weave is on too tight. She's stitched in. So she threw shade at Kevin Samuels and Tariq Nasheed, saying that if we're questioning what the Democrats have done for us, which is what any registered voter, thinking voter, doesn't even matter if they're black or white or Asian or Hispanic or whatever, they would ask any politician, what have you done for me lately? And as a group, black people vote in blocks for the Democratic Party.
Majority, like he said, vote Democrat, but that margin of people who can be plucked away from your people and go advance policies that harm your people, I just don't understand that.
But I don't understand why you would still vote for, you're contradicting yourself. You're voting for and supporting one party that obviously has put in policies that are contradictory to your people, that are against your people. If you're pushing illegal immigration, you're pushing for the rights of LGBTQ, the right for a man who's a 6'3" man to go into a women's locker room because they feel a certain way, or even chopping and putting babies in a blender. You're supporting everything that is against you. You're contradicting yourself. And they put skills like Tiffany Cross, Al Sharpton, that whole, Al Sharpton, we already know his deal. We already know who's the other one that was on there, Joy Reid, and they even had, she's not there anymore, but remember when they had Melissa Harris Perry? Those all shows for Democrats. They got rid of Melissa's ass, especially when she made that remark about Mitt Romney's grandson. Remember the grandchild that was black? I think it was a grandson or granddaughter, I'm not mistaken, who was black. Both parties have not done anything for the black community. And you insult a dead man at that, who can't defend himself. All you Tariq Nasheed thinking, all you Kevin Samuels quoting, and Tariq Nasheed thinking people, excuse me? What has Tiffany Cross contributed? What has Tiffany Cross contributed to the black community? Now, you may have your issues with, I will say this, I have my issues with some stuff Kevin Samuels said, but I looked at the man, you look at what he was talking about, he actually not only criticized black women, he had criticized black men. And some stuff he was talking about was how men could be better. Black women should be better. How you expect a woman, if you're a woman, you want this and this, a high value man, but you don't conduct yourself even you don't even, let me start over. You want a high value man, but you don't even value yourself, your appearance. You're going to school picking up your kids in a bonnet and a robe. Got curlers in your hair. You don't value that. But you want us to attack men? Yeah, she's trash for throwing a dead man under the bus. The dead can't defend themselves. The dead can't speak. The dead are dead. And you talk shit about Tariq. Tariq put a museum up. Shout out to him. Congrats to Tariq Nasheed on his museum. And I'm happy to say that I supported and contributed to his museum. He just purchased the building, so they own that building.
Beautiful space. This is museum space. We can put a lot of good stuff in here. Some of the stuff that you see is not going to be in here. But We just got the place, man. We officially own this building here in Los Angeles on Jefferson. Man, great space, nice outside. We're gonna have some stuff going on outside. Here in the back. So we got some stuff in the back, and we're gonna have some outdoor events and all that stuff happening. So this is gonna be real fly. So y'all stay tuned. All right, so we are at the museum spot that we just purchased out here in Los Angeles. Beautiful space, man. Beautiful, beautiful space. This is the
funky heifer. I really hate when they get these shows up, but yeah, this funky heifer here. I don't even watch it. Remember when they even had Tamron Hall? Yeah, MSNBC. Here's the thing about MSNBC. You will notice that, especially after Barack Obama was leaving office back in 2016, 2017, notice that all of those shows on MSNBC, all of the black hosts, they either canceled their programs or they moved them to a different time slot they knew nobody's watching. Like Al Sharpton is still on MSNBC, but he comes on like at 6 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. Nobody's watching TV that early on Sunday morning. If they are, they're watching a sports show, like a sports outdoors show, or they're watching the Three Stooges. Preferably, I prefer the Stooges over Al Sharpton. Hello. I don't mind the ass cheeks out, but that's good. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we're talking about that. But yeah, they phased him out, and it wasn't just the black host on MSNBC. Even the radio programs. Tom Joyner's morning show. Remember, he wrapped up around the time they were trying to force him out around the time Barack Obama was leaving office. So they get rid of their shields one by one. And it doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. There's no place for a coon in white supremacy. Well, there is, but when there's no more use for you, just like the field slave, they get rid of their house slaves. Hate this crap. But I want to get into this. Tariq put his money where his mouth is. Speaking of mouth, I got to talk about this big mouth, Mr. Bill Maher. Now, I can play the video clip, but I won't show it because what will happen, I'll be forced to get with a copyright strike. Actually, Tom Warner has done this multiple times with me. A couple of times with me, I've gotten strikes even if I claim fair use. But I'm going to play it, and I think you can hear this now. He was on his show, Real Time with Bill Maher. Now, I'm going to show you all, before I play the clip, I just want to show you all this tweet from my brother, Van Lathan. Van, of course, used to be on TMZ. And I saw this on his Twitter page. He actually had this, and he said this. He said, Bill Maher in Real Time have morphed from the loud voice of white grievance culture to a quiet voice of white supremacy that's getting louder every week. Now, you notice if you follow our friend, shout out to our brother Harvey, Superboy from Real World. Harvey has always gone in on Bill Maher. Remember when Bill Maher got in trouble back a couple of years ago on HBO because he mentioned how he was a house nigga? He was trying to make a joke. And then the next week, he did that half-ass apology, and they brought out tap dancing Bojangles, Michael Eric Dyson, who did that word salad that was so eloquent from the promastigation of the proclamation of the Bill Maher, who has contributed against the Republican dialect that is white supremacy. The Democratic brother, my Democratic brother, we love him and we must praise him because he is not like these Republicans. That's Michael Eric Dyson. Y'all want an impression? That's one. But Van Lathan, shout out to him. He wrote this. But that's what they did with Bill Maher when he said that. And each week he opens his mouth and says something stupid. But he made a remark about slavery. Now, what the remark was in context, he was talking about presentism. And presentism is basically where we are judging people today And he talks about this, and it's not in the clip because this is only the 2-minute version of the chattel slavery remark. But you can go and look on HB on YouTube and look up Real Time with Bill Maher and see his new rule, which is usually his epilogue at the end of the show, where he's talking about this. And he made a remark. He was talking about presentism and how people are judging people from the past on today's standards, essentially saying how we look at them with a different eye. Now, to some degree, I agree with that criticism that, yeah, if we're going back in ancient times, judging how talking about slavery, you're talking about mass murder, genocide genocide, murder, that's all should be wrong because it's written in a person's heart. We know it's wrong. But, yes, slavery is ancient. Yes, men doing things to women, that has been going on for centuries. Rape, murder, stealing. Yeah, everything's been going on for a long time. But when you talk about chattel slavery, and I'm going to play the clip so you can hear it. Of course, you're not going to be able to watch it. But when you're talking about chattel slavery, especially as it pertains to African Americans, it's important to note in context that the experience of slavery in America today, in America as it was starting in 1619, was completely different from what they did in ancient times, ancient Romans, ancient Egyptians, Greeks, whatever. It was completely different. It was not chattel slavery. The slaves, even then, were allowed to keep their culture and customs. It was a caste system that you had. It was not where a person was not considered a person, but they were considered a thing. That's what chattel slavery is. You're considered property. But I'm going to play the clip. I want you to hear this. Now listen to this, fool.
Everybody who could afford one had a slave, including people of color. The way people talk about slavery these days, you'd think it was a uniquely American thing that we invented in 1619. But slavery throughout history has been the rule, not the exception. The Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Greeks, Romans, the Arabs, British, the early Americans, all the way up through R. Kelly. The Holy Bible is practically an owner's manual for slaveholders. The word slave comes from Slav, because so many Slavic people were enslaved, and they're as white as the Hallmark Channel. Who do you think gathered the slaves from the interior of Africa to sell to slave traders? Africans, who also kept their own slaves. We're a species prone to making others of our species our bitch. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Humans are not good people. And the capacity for cruelty is a human thing, not a white thing. That's the truth, even though it doesn't jibe with the current narrative. But in today's world, when truth conflicts with narrative, it's the truth that has to apologize. Being woke is like a magic moral time.
All right, so that was the clip. Now, you can go online, you can go on Bill Maher's Twitter page. He has the whole 8-minute epilogue that he did. But the problem with it, and a lot of people commented and tweeted, some supporting what he said, others not so much. Now, as I was stating earlier, now he mentioned the Slavics, the slavery. I can guarantee you, when you're talking about, it's simple to look up transatlantic slave trade, right here, not the triangular trade, transatlantic slave trade. And you look at this, and he brought up the Africans that enslaved their own. And in fact, that movie that a lot of, that movie that's out right now, The Woman King, that's being criticized right now by many on the Black and Foundation of Black Americans. Many people are criticizing it even for being inaccurate because of the Dahomey tribe, which the movie is about. Those women participated in the transatlantic slave trade and enslaving their fellow Africans, which is true. The other thing that's important to point out is that even that tribe, first off, the name woman king, I think, is even insulting because a woman is not a king. By definition, a king is a male ruler. It is a queen who is the female ruler, the wife of the king. So they create this gender divide. There are great women that they could talk about in the Black community, in Black history. I'd love to see an Ida B. Wells movie. What if they redid Cleopatra instead of having when they did Elizabeth Taylor? I would have loved to have seen, I'd love to see Lucia because Lucia actually dropped out of the movie. I don't know if y'all noticed, but she dropped out of the Woman King movie when she learned the history of their tribe, of that kingdom, and what they did. But I want to get into this slavery in Africa and New World contrasted. Forms of slavery. Now, this is what Bill Maher needs to read. Forms of slavery varied both in Africa and in the New World. In general, slavery in Africa was not heritable. That is, the children of slaves were free, while in America, or in the Americas, rather, children of slave mothers were considered born into slavery. This was connected to another distinction. Slavery in West Africa was not reserved for racial or religious minorities as it was in European colonies, although the case was otherwise in places such as Somalia, where Bantus were taken as slaves for the ethnic Somalis. So basically the tribes. The treatment of slaves in Africa were more variable than in the Americas. At one extreme, the kings of Dahomey routinely slaughtered slaves in hundreds or thousands in sacrificial rituals, and slaves as human sacrifices were also known in Cameroon. On the other hand, slaves in other places were often treated as part of the family, adopted children with significant rights, including the right to marry without their master's permission. Now, you read here at the bottom, in the Americas, slaves were denied the right to marry freely, and masters did not generally accept them as equal members of the family. New World slaves were considered the property of their owners, and slaves convicted of revolt or murder were executed. So it was completely different. Completely different. And let me say this as well, Darius. I, as a person who's a Christian myself and identifies that, it is important to bear in mind that your Nat Turner, who was a preacher himself, he found cause that slavery not only was a just cause, but it was justifiable for the slave to fight back. And he did. And he did it till he put his life on the line for that, as did Denmark Vesey, as did Frederick Douglass, Robert Smalls, Martin Delany, great black men in the 1800s who made it in spite of slavery, born into slavery actually. Robert Smalls and Martin Delany, but both served this country honorably in the military. Martin Delany was the highest ranking black officer in the Union. He was a major. You see, you have something called the conscience. Yes, it is wrong. And there are some things you just know. Even as a kid, my parents didn't have to tell me. There were just things I saw I knew wasn't right. Like if you took something that didn't belong to you, you knew it belonged to someone else. It had their name on it. I knew I shouldn't have touched that. Or I didn't touch that if I knew it belonged to someone. I knew it was wrong to kill. Of course, you should have, yes, parents have to educate their children about that. But there are things that are innately written in your heart that you should know already. But Bill Maher has always said, and Tariq Nasheed's talked about him before, he has always said some racial shit. This is a guy that was accused of even by Karen Stevens. Remember, he dated her at one point? I don't know what the fuck she saw in Bill Maher, but Karen Stevens, who was they called her superhead. Y'all know why. But she was in a relationship with Bill Maher at one point and alleged he was saying some stuff. I believe it was him. Remember the stuff he even said about Wayne Brady? Wayne Brady even got on Bill Maher. Wayne Brady came at when he made that remark and said he didn't want Obama to be a Wayne Brady type of flag. Basically saying Wayne Brady is soft. And Wayne went off. We went on HuffPost Live. See if I can play that. I know Moise Lamont Hill is on here. That's always it's not a good sign.
About Obama, right? He raises he starts comparing you to comparing Obama to you as a way of saying he's not sufficiently black.
That he would be a real black man and not a Wayne Brady.
Right.
Well, as folks online, this at Wayne Brady, which is my Twitter handle. Why did I say that? Oh, because I read it on the monitor. I said to Bill, and it was taken out of context at a certain point because of the ignorance. Bill Maher, I've always respected him. Yeah. Lord knows not everyone can pull off the brilliance that he showed in DC Cab.
Well done. I was working at home with you too. You just good job.
I give him a try. Fingers crossed. That I respected him as a comedian and as what he does on HBO. It's great. When he starts to drag me in to use me as the cultural linchpin of his not black enough argument, that's bullshit.
Right.
Because Bill Maher's never walked in my shoes, nor any black man's shoes. And I've even said in the quote, just in the interview that I did about him, just because you've been with a black woman or two, and I've seen some of them, it's questionable if they were women, just because you've done that, yes, I said it, yep. And then after this, we'll talk about Clover, the character I play on my Disney show. That now you live the black experience, oh, now you're down? No.
Right.
So to say that about
he has a pass. Bill Maher thinks he has a pass because, and I'm never going to Bill Maher now, but Bill thinks he has a pass because.
Well, I'll take it on me so you can go on the show because I love what you do. So yeah, Bill, you think you have a pass. The fact of the matter is, if it came down to it, what I said to him was, oh, so then if it takes the black man in your mind, as liberal as Bill is, and he, oh no, peace and love, the black dude in his mind is the stereotypical, that dude,
right?
That guy exists, but that's not the range of the black experience. But let's say that that's the black dude. So then when I meet you, when I talk to you again, I'll give you that black dude and I will beat your ass in public. And that's what I said. That's what I said.
Did Bill ever respond?
Bill never responded because Bill is a bajillionaire. And I even said in the interview that if I really saw Bill, the fact of the matter is, if I played out the fantasy in my head and I beat him in public because I can, then Bill would take my house and I wouldn't have a career and then my daughter would be living in a box, but then I'd sell my story to Oprah and I'd be even bigger. Wayne Brady beats me. But so I just said, be careful when you make statements like that because I really think what is when Bill Maher says something like that, he has a segment of America's ear. So when he says that, that's okay for somebody at home to go, that's right. Guys that actually talk well and are black, that's not black. I like my blacks misunderstandables. Yeah. So that hurts me. Not
Yeah, Wayne Brady was 1,000% right on. Shout out to Wayne. Wayne called it out from the beginning. But we got to be careful. Malcolm warned about the white liberal and how the white liberal can be just as worse than the white conservative. That's why when Tiffany Cross opens up her fat mouth talking about black men who are supporting the Republican Party, it's not that black men are supporting the Republican Party and voting for them because they love the Republicans. It's the fact that they are being neglected and are looking at who is the better, as you even like to say, the lesser of two evils. Because when I'm looking at the programs that are being passed, the laws that are in place, what they're doing with the illegal, like I pointed out, this thing with the illegal immigrants in the sanctuary cities. You have homeless people, I talked about this Thursday, who are living under the bridge, who don't have access to capital, don't have access to housing, that are not being provided for, but you would intake and bring in people from another country who break the law to get in here. That's the problem. And they're taking the jobs away. I have no problem. I'm not a prejudiced man. I help people who need help all the time. I have donated, not just my time, my money, my clothes, or anything to other people. I have donated my work in helping people less fortunate. As an attorney, I've represented people pro bono. Even as when I've done work as a public defender, we represent people who are in jail automatically. I've done work like this. So I have no problem helping people that need help. But I do have a problem when our elected officials are not even following the law because they're trying to make a political ideological point so that they can get reelected again, but leave the person who has continuously supported them, who has asked for something in exchange, like you're doing with other groups, but you continue to brush us to the side. And we should have and we saw it when Ice Cube wanted to talk with both people, both parties. He wanted to talk with the Republicans and the Democrats. The Republicans spoke with him, but the Democrats had nothing to say. Oh, wait till after the election. No, you don't wait till after the election. It's going to be too late by then. No time like the present. When there's an opportunity, you strike. That's the difference between winners and losers. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about this next story. Thank you. I believe this was Melvin McGauley for your donation. I appreciate you supporting the channel. People, if you can please support the channel. As you know, it's not monetized. I'm moving stuff over to Patreon. I'm going to be doing that, setting some stuff private. I'm trying to get back monetization, but I might actually, and I am doing, I believe, another channel, YouTube channel that I've set up. So that way it'll help. So if all of my subscribers go there and subscribe to it, you can possibly get back to monetization. But this next story, now the L that I want to take is on the state of Iowa. And by state, I mean the prosecutors. There's prosecutors in this case, and the judge, although I will say the judge, he had no other choice because of this plea agreement that was entered into. Now, you all may have heard of the story of this young lady right here. Her name is Piper Lewis. Piper Lewis was 15 years old when she was sexually assaulted. She was raped and forced into sex trafficking by her rapist, a man by the name of Zachary Brooks, who was 37 years old. Now, she stabbed Zachary Brooks to death back in June of 2020 and was originally charged with first-degree murder, but she pled to involuntary manslaughter and willful injury for the killing. The charges were punishable up to 10 years in prison. However, prosecutors did not seek to have that push for that sentence. They have not, and prosecutors and the police have not disputed that Lewis was sexually assaulted and trafficked. However, what the dispute was the fact that Brooks was, quote, asleep at the time he was stabbed and was not an immediate danger to Lewis. Now, Lewis was 15 years old when she stabbed Brooks more than 30 times in his Des Moines apartment. Officials had said Lewis was a runaway who was seeking to escape an abusive life with her adopted mother and was sleeping in the hallways of a Des Moines apartment building when a 28-year-old man took her in before forcibly tracking her to other men for sex. One of the men was Brooks, and he raped her multiple times in the week before his death. She recounted being forced at knife point by the 28-year-old man to go with Brooks to his apartment for sex. She told officials that after Brooks had raped her yet again, she grabbed a knife from a bedside table and stabbed Brooks in a fit of rage. Iowa, it's important to note, is not among the dozens of states that have a so-called safe harbor law that gives victims at least some level of criminal immunity. So there is no safe harbor law that would have basically given her some immunity. But the way that the law works, it is crap. But I understand how the law works as an attorney because under a self-defense justifiable homicide, number one, there has to be a reasonable threat of imminent danger and loss of life or really serious bodily injury, one of the two. And I'm just saying it from a Louisiana perspective. I don't know Iowa's self-defense statute, but you are generally is allowed in every state, I know this, that the force has to be reasonable. For instance, if you're alleging deadly force, it says here under the Penal Code in Iowa, 704.2, deadly force. The term deadly force means any of the following: force used for the purpose of causing serious injury, force which the actor knows or reasonably should know will create a strong probability that the serious injury will result. Justifiable use of deadly force. The person against whom force is used at the time the force is used is doing any of the following. There's more to the deadly force, the definition of deadly force. It says deadly force does not include a threat to cause serious injury. Let me stop sharing this and share the statute so you all can read it. It says deadly force does not include a threat to cause serious injury or death by the production, display, or brandishing of a deadly weapon, as long as the actions of the person are limited to creating an expectation that the person may use deadly force to defend oneself, another, or as otherwise authorized by law. Now, if you look here, defense of self or another under 704.3. A person is justified in the use of reasonable force when the person reasonably believes that such force is necessary to defend oneself or another from any actual or imminent use of unlawful force. Now, I think without question for me, if someone is trying to rape you, which is an act of violence, I think it's well known as violence, that is force. And they say, yes, you are a rape victim. Yes, you're kidnapped, but you didn't have to kill him. Even though you're in his apartment, he's not your father, he has no legal relationship with you. Oh, no question, Danielle. No legal relationship with you. But he's allowed to do this over and over again. Now, in Iowa, if I'm not mistaken, and look, I'm an attorney only licensed in Louisiana, and this doesn't create an attorney-client relationship, but I'm just speaking as a man and as a lawyer who's been through these roads. They're saying deadly force was not necessary. I would beg, if someone is raping you, I would beg to differ. Now, what their argument is that she wasn't being raped then and he was asleep and she was in the apartment. The law is, especially with self-defense, is a timing thing. I get if I got into an argument with someone and they punched me and then an hour later I come back and shoot them. There was time to cool off, what they call a cooling off period. So in that instance, that wouldn't be manslaughter. Well, that would be murder. And in this instance, what they did with this young lady, with this teenager, with this child, because she was a kid, she's still a kid, they're saying that, yes, we know that you were a rape victim, but you didn't have to kill him. And they charged her with first-degree murder when really she should be given an awarded medal. I'm going to say it. She took out a pimp, the lowest of the low. The judge in the case, Polk County District Judge David M. Porter,
Fundraiser for Piper Lewis's restitution order has already reached
$150,000 to the family of Mr. Brooks, a rapist.
its goal, but money continues to pour in for the Des Moines teenager. Lewis pleaded guilty to killing 37-year-old Zachary Brooks, who she says raped her several times while she was a victim of human trafficking. She was sentenced yesterday to 5 years probation and ordered to pay the mandatory $150,000
It had to be a black man.
in restitution to Brooks' family. Lewis's former teacher started a GoFundMe last night to help the teen pay the family. As of this morning, the fundraiser has $170,000. The organizer says the extra funds will be given to Lewis to, quote, explore ways to help other young victims of sex crimes.
Actually, that has gone up. It's actually updated. It's actually 200,000. The last I checked, it's going up continuously.
Tonight, a Des Moines teenager at the center of a human trafficking and murder case is getting support from people around the world. Piper Lewis did not receive a prison sentence for fatally stabbing the man she says raped her, but she didn't walk away unpunished. A judge ordered Lewis to pay $150,000 to the family of her accused rapist. That restitution is required by Iowa law.
And it could be a financial life sentence for the teenager who's trying to move forward after years of abuse and extreme trauma. KCCI's Bo Bowman has been following this case since it started in 2020. He shows us how the generosity of others will not only pay off that debt, but will also give her a shot at a much better future.
Well, Steve, a GoFundMe page was started just last night after Judge David Porter handed down the restitution order. It has since received more than $250,000 in funds for Lewis from people all over the country. Many have argued that Lewis shouldn't have to pay the $150,000 in restitution at all, but legal experts say the judge didn't have any other choice.
I don't think the judge had any choice, but was mandated to issue that order for restitution.
His hands were tied.
His hands were tied.
Robert Rigg, a professor at the Drake Law School, says Iowa's restitution statute requires anyone guilty of a crime that results in the death of another to pay $150,000 to the victim's family. Rigg says that includes Piper Lewis, the teenager who killed 37-year-old Zachary Brooks after he raped her here at these apartment buildings in 2020.
Right now, the only way to change that would be to have the legislature enact a new restitution statute that wouldn't incorporate the $150,000.
Since Polk County Judge David Porter gave the order of restitution Tuesday afternoon, a GoFundMe has been started by a former teacher of Lewis. Early Wednesday morning, it had $30,000. By noon, it already surpassed its goal of $150,000. And now that amount stands at more than $200,000. with more on the way from all over the country.
I'm here with a group of people that is dedicated to service.
Arnold Westfall of California saw Lewis's story and contacted KCCI to get connected with the GoFundMe organizer. He plans to present Lewis's case to his philanthropy group, PSI Seminars, to raise hundreds of thousands of funds to contribute to her fundraiser.
What we contribute on top, I mean, I see her owning her own home outright, all of her education paid for, anything she wants to do with her life, she's going to clear that.
After the $150,000 for restitution, given to Lewis to pursue a college degree, start her own business, or help other young victims of sex crimes. Steve?
So, from what you heard there, actually, the governor
fundraiser.
Court-ordered restitution has surpassed its goal. Piper Lewis must pay $150,000 to the family of the man she killed after he allegedly raped her.
KCCI's Bill Maher explains why Lewis is forced to pay the restitution and the legality of crowdsourcing this money.
Well, Steve, in Iowa, our restitution statute dictates that anyone guilty of a crime that results in the death of another person must pay $150,000 to the victim's family. And even though she was given a deferred sentence, legal experts here in Des Moines say the judge had no choice but to enforce that statute. We spoke with a Drake law professor who says the only way to change that is to have the legislature change the law or have the governor commute that portion of Piper Lewis's sentencing. Now, in the 24 hours since the 17-year-old has been ordered to pay that money, one of her former teachers started a GoFundMe and raised more than she needed, almost $250,000 right now. And according to the professors at Drake, once that money is gifted to Lewis, she's allowed to use that to pay her restitution.
To my knowledge, there are no legal impediments for her to be gifted any amount of money for whatever purpose they want to give her to.
Now, the organizer of the GoFundMe page writes on there that all the excess money will be used to help Lewis go to college, start her own business, or help other young victims.
All right, this is why I hate Iowa.
Tonight, a Des Moines teenager at the...
I hate Iowa now because let me say this, y'all. You know, I support and respect the law as an attorney myself, but Iowa, y'all looking strange with this law. I get that, yes. If there's a homicide victim, I get what they put that in there. I understand all of that. But there ought to be an exception. Here's where I thought, let me stop. This case should never have gone to trial. There should not have been, I don't know what the particulars were. I'm going off what I'm reading the report. The prosecutors, obviously, and the police agreed there was a sexual assault that was occurring on this minor. She kills her kidnapper, her rapist. If it's acknowledged that he raped her and she was in his house, he's a kidnapper. He's a rapist. There is something in Iowa called battered woman syndrome. There wouldn't have been a jury. If she were white, would they even have to go through this? Y'all really think if she were white, if Miss Lewis was white, there would have actually been a trial, that there would have been a plea agreement. They would have found she was justified and parading around like they did Rittenhouse when he won his case last year. Battered women syndrome. America is not, this is why when I was going out defending Bill Cosby, because a lot of people say, well, Gavin, may be thinking, Gavin, you're being hypocritical. No, like I said, if there was evidence that someone raped someone, I sure as hell would not support them. If I knew it for a fact, I wouldn't come out publicly and support someone. But what was going on with him was about money. Dr. Cosby was about money. What you have here is a young girl who was trafficked, and the police investigated. They found evidence of this. They didn't have evidence for Cosby that he did stuff like that. It was hearsay. It was speculation. It was, I'm getting back at somebody because my music career or my movie career didn't work out the way it should have or could be. So I'm getting revenge on this person. This young lady defended herself, as far as I'm concerned. I understand, and believe me, as an attorney, yeah, the law has to be in increments. But and it's about time and when this happened. But still, if she's in a house with somebody that's older than her, that sexually assaulted her, she deserved to. They should have all processed this case. That means dismissed. I want everybody in there. I want everybody in Iowa, excuse me, that saw this case. I want you all to pay attention to who your leaders are. Who's your governor? The governor should commute the sentence. Give her a full pardon. This was a child. $150,000. Where would she get that at 17 years old? Where would she even get that kind of money? The judge, and let me just say this, yeah, the judge had to do his job, but you know, if they wanted to, they could have taken this to trial. If they wanted to, they could have actually dismissed the case. The judge or the prosecutor's office, if they really wanted to. I'm not trying this. Judge Alu Stevens did it in Kentucky. He dismissed the case against the brother who was in Breonna Taylor's home, her boyfriend. America ain't serious about no. That's why we all called out this Me Too shit, because y'all not serious about it. America ain't serious about helping out no rape victims. Look what y'all did with, look what you did with black people for the last 200, 400 years. The black woman that got raped by Massa. The black woman walking home that got raped. You don't care about victims. You don't care about children. Kenneth Walker, yeah. Look at Emmett Till. Do I need to go further? Emmett Till, George Steinme, the Scottsboro Boys. I can go on. Unsunken one says Des Moines is a shithole. I lived there for 2 years. Yeah, I'm glad you got out of Iowa, brother. Speaking of shitholes, this is my last topic. I want to talk about Brett Favre. Now, I'm a big football fan. As y'all know, even when I was a kid, I liked Brett Favre as a kid. I thought he was a good player. But as I got older, and especially someone who watches football in the game, I realized something. Brett Favre actually threw more interceptions than anybody in NFL history, even more than Drew Brees. Brett Favre, the true welfare king, is being accused of misappropriate. Well, he's not getting misappropriate the funds. He's being accused essentially from his text messages, attempting to defraud, along with the governor of Mississippi at that time, Bill Bryant, from other elected officials, of basically taking millions of dollars that was supposed to be allocated to welfare recipients, people who get the SNAP cards, the food stamps, housing money. These people, he's accused of basically skimming millions from the people of Mississippi. Now, let me put it in context for you. Mississippi, and we talked about this before, is the poorest state in the Union. I talked about this especially with the water crisis. Mississippi is the poorest state. Louisiana is the second poorest state, then New Mexico, then West Virginia, Kentucky, and so forth. So we have a multi-millionaire in Brett Favre, a man who has made over $100 million throughout his lifetime, a man who makes and continues to get endorsements. And it's not just the fact that he got $6 million in welfare fraud from the state of Mississippi, it's the fact that he got it for a freaking volleyball team. He got it for a volleyball stadium at Southern Miss, which is his alma mater. And his daughter plays volleyball for this team. So he wanted to create a volleyball stadium that was a full service volleyball stadium for them. He pushed for millions in funding. And there are allegedly in these text messages incriminating remarks that he made about it, asking about the media. Can they be involved in it? Will they know about this? Which is a dead giveaway. And what you had earlier, you see here, they say here on July 24, 2017, a meeting was held at USM. In attendance were Favre, John Davis, who was the head of Mississippi Department of Human Services, Ted DiBiase, as in the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Nancy New, USM athletic staff, and other MDHS and MCEC officials. Now, Nancy New pled guilty and said she helped direct $5 million in temporary assistance for needy family funds towards building a volleyball stadium and $1.1 million to retired NFL star Brett Favre. A new state-of-the-art volleyball facility was likely to cost more. That's what Favre said. He put new, K-N-E-W, should be any. So we know Favre never paid attention in school. Yeah, that Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. Now he's broke too. He wants to get some money. Hey, the $1 Million Man always gets his way. Money, 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 money. Everybody's got a price. Even the welfare queen. Everybody's gonna pay. Does the $1 Million Man. Always gets his way. Money, 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 money. Now he writes, so these are all of the text messages. And Favre, misspelled his name, allegedly says, if you were to pay me, this is what he says, this is what I was talking about earlier. Is there any way the media can find out where it came from and how much? And this person, this is Nancy New, that he's texting to. No, we never had that information publicized. I understand you being uneasy about that, though. Let's see what happens on Monday with the conversation with some of the folks at Southern. Maybe it will click with them, hopefully. Hey, sis here. Okay, thanks. Wow, just got off the phone with Phil Bryant. He's on board with us. We will get this done. Now, it's important to point out the federal TNF block grants also states board discretion over their spending. State law prohibits using the welfare funds for brick and mortar construction projects. The news, MCEC, and Davis found a workaround, however. In his plea agreement on April 22nd, 2022, and we're talking about Nancy New, her son also pled guilty to this as well. Her son was involved with this, Zach New. So they pled to multiple state charges, including robbery and wire fraud as part of a plea agreement. The disguised sublease scheme now for $5 million in TNF funds gained the approval of the Mississippi Attorney General, USM, and the Mississippi Institution for Higher Learning, which oversees state colleges and universities. So Nancy New even texted "It's a Go," which appears in a September 12th filing, all approved by IHL. Now, there was a lawsuit in this matter that was filed, and I believe Brett Favre had actually been sued as well. And if I'm not mistaken, he had sent the money in, but there was some interest that he failed to pay. I believe he returned the money, but failed to pay the interest on it, according to the lawsuit. Now, he further texted, "Nancy, Santa came today and dropped some money off. Thank you, my goodness." Now, this was 2 days after Christmas. Now the building, she says, "Yes, he did. He felt you had been pretty good this year. After these holidays, let's get our calendars together on a few activities. Please know if we ask you to do something and you can't, it is okay, and we'll get it all worked out. How is the building coming along in beach volleyball? Is it the way you had hoped?" Well, it's more of when they will start. Now it's February and they're saying. See, my whole thing too is, here's my thing. You're a multi-millionaire already. Brett Favre has made, as I stated before, $100 million in his career. His name alone generates money. You don't think that he could have set up GoFundMe or some type of foundation that he could have done? Because you know his wife, Bryn, his wife, Deanna Favre, have been battling breast cancer. And I believe they have a foundation for that as well. You don't think he could have gotten donations from some of those people who supported his wife, that supported him and his charities? That money he could have even just put up himself, but he didn't want to do that. I'm only going off from what these text messages are saying. If they got some defense, I'd like to know what it is. But the real reaction, of course, it went around all through social media, but the real reaction came from Shannon Sharp. When Shannon Sharp had to say about Brett Favre, it went viral, and even Stephen Head Smith was talking about it. But here's what Shannon Sharp briefly had to say about this.
Yesterday, an investigation by Mississippi Today found that Brett Favre, along
Paid $100+ million.
That is true. Nobody mentioned anything about the people that were in the room when Brett Favre went to the Hall of Fame, and nobody mentioned about text messages that he sent to that jet masseuse. Nobody mentioned anything about the addiction that he suffered from. But yet, T.O., they brought up everything. Can you imagine if T.O. would have had an incident like Brett Favre off the field? T.O. still to this day right now would not be in the Hall of Fame. Yet they walk right past it like Brett Favre did nothing.
That is true. I give you that.
The problem that I have with this situation, you got to be a sorry mofo to steal from the lowest of the low. Skip, Mississippi is the poorest state in our country.
It is.
Its citizens. So if they're the poorest state, Brett Favre is taken from the underserved.
Yeah, Shannon was going in. I gotta tell you right off. Brett Favre, you a sorry mofo. You take from the undeserved, Skip. He took from the undeserved, Skip, because his club say we don't take from the undeserved. The people of Mississippi ought to get their restitution, Skip, because this was a bullshit, Skip. This was a bull job, Skip. I can't stand Brett Favre right now. You know, when he sent them text messages to them with food, he should have paid the price then. Nobody brought it up when he was getting elected in the Hall of Fame. But they would have done it if it was TL. It was Terrell Owens, he would have gotten it. He would never got this, Skip. It was Charles Haley, he would never got it, Skip. This is some bull. You got to be the solid mofo to do this right now. And I knew Brett Favre because Brett Favre played with my brother. Brett Favre played with Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp made Brett Favre. The Sharp family always made their quarterback. I made John Elway. I made Elvis Grbac. I made them better quarterback than they ever wanted to be, Skip. And they didn't have to steal. We didn't have nothing. We had imagined sandwiches as kids, Skip. We imagined there was some meat in that bread. But this is wrong. On many levels, Skip. But I can't do with this, Skip. I can't deal with it, Skip. I can't deal with it. You're a sorry mofo, Brett Favre. You got to pay the piper. You ain't even robbing Peter to pay Paul. You robbing Peter and Paul. Shay went on him. And of course, y'all know fat ass Jason Whitlock was even calling Shannon a hypocrite. Because Jason Whitlock actually hosts that show on the Blaze. But he said Shannon Sharp was a hypocrite over Brett Favre attack. Now, I'm not going to even play it. It's an hour-long video. But yeah, Jason Whitlock has been known to open his mouth, other than for the pie, apparently, but talking shit about black folks. Remember when he came at, and I don't like the Breakfast Club, but when he came at them, when they were going with against Tommy Laurent, when he came to her aid, he said stuff about LeVar Ball and the Ball brothers. He said stuff about T.O. He said stuff about every black person. He said stuff about Serena. He's been known, and Corey Holcomb has gone in on it. But he called Shannon Sharp a hypocrite.
I need you to
And right on his wall, I'm looking at it, you got Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass on your wall. And you talk shit about black folk, your own people. Now just look at the comments. And someone brought up, so I didn't read it, but yeah, he brought up the fact that he called out Shannon Sharp, but he didn't call out Brett Favre. He didn't call out Brett. No, he's the dodo boy. He's the dough man, literally. You poke him, he'll. Like LeVar Ball said, the only thing Jason Whitlock can talk about to me is facts. But anyway, this is a sorry mother. You got to be Brett Favre's. Let me just look at something before we get out of here. This is actually Brett Favre's net worth. His net worth as of is 100 million. Okay, so his net worth is 100 million. So he's still a millionaire. He could finance a damn stadium. He could name it in honor of his father. Remember when they made the big deal about his father? And I'm not knocking his dad died. Remember when his dad died that Sunday before the Raiders game? They were playing on Monday Night Football. When his daddy died, and everybody was praising Brett and how he played against the Oakland Raiders. He threw for 4 touchdowns in that game. He was actually on fire. He had like a quarterback rating, had to have been of 150. I don't think any receiver dropped maybe 1 or 2 balls, but that was about it. He was a warrior. He played every game unscathed, unhurt. And T.O., let's be real, when he was not a first ballot Hall of Famer. You know who else was not a first ballot Hall of Famer? Mike Irvin from the Cowboys, because they were mentioning all the stuff Michael Irvin did off the field. You know, Michael Irvin had drug issues. Michael Irvin was being arrested, prostitution, soliciting prostitutes, all of this stuff. But I knew one thing: Michael Irvin came to play on Sunday. He very rarely missed a game. He was there for practice. He played. Michael Irvin wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. T.O. wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. Charles Haley isn't in, I think, is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He had more Super Bowls than Tom Brady until recently. But I remember when Brett Favre had issues with drugs. I remember when he had drug issues in the 90s. He was on painkillers. He did have those text messages he sent to that woman for the Jets, that masseuse. Remember, he didn't stay that long with the Jets either. He only played 1 year, then he went to Minnesota. But this looks bad. I mean, from a legal standpoint, it looks bad because it looks like he was skimming money. Well, the text messages, if they're verified, and I don't see how it can't be verified, but it looks that way, that he was skimming money from, along with Bill Bryant, Nancy New and her son Zach New, and a few others we mentioned, Ted DiBiase. All of those people could likely go to jail. Well, we know Nancy New, they made a plea agreement. There's a strong likelihood they could go to jail. But then again, this is America, and good old boys is still running. That good old boy system is still present because Brett Favre, from the text messages, he hasn't been arrested as of yet. I don't think Ted DiBiase has been arrested as of yet. That's right. I was looking at the top kid. Like, nah, he's a beast. I gotta tell you right out there, yeah. Stay sharp, don't need no check. Because even though I talk like this, my tongue is always coming out when I'm talking. So it always keep my mouth moist. I always keep my lips moist, Skip. Because Skip, I don't want to be a sorry mofo. I don't want to be like I don't want to be like Brett Favre. I don't want to be like Will Smith. If I was the people of Mississippi, they should all become one big Shannon Sharp and whip Brett Favre ass. He's the interception king too. He's an interception junkie. He likes to throw the ball, force it in, you know, and everybody would praise it. And you know who praised him? Somewhere John Madden is hanging his head. And, you know, John Madden loves Brett Favre. That's who made Brett Favre. You know, Brett Favre, you know, he goes in there, throws the ball, with the back, oh, just catches it. So that's Madden. You know, oh. That's right. They need to kick his ass, Danielle. Just one big boot. One big boot for stay sharp. I mean, Charles Haley, a lot. There's, you know, talk about the NFL and Super Bowl and Hall of Fame. There's a couple people who are not in the Hall of Fame, like Roger Craig is not in the Hall of Fame. Ricky Waters is not in the Hall of Fame because he made a remark for who and for what. Ricky Waters was one of the baddest running backs in NFL history. Roger Craig was the first running back to catch 1,000 yards and run for 1,000 yards. That's why I don't get caught up in this Hall of Fame thing, because there's a lot of people. Brett Favre, you know, Brett Favre. So the thing about Brett Favre, if there was a Greek god,
and it was Americanized. Brett Favre would do a great job. It's just that Russell was everything you already broke.
Brett Favre is the welfare king. They got the woman king, the welfare king. Oh, this is a disgrace. Let me ask y'all in the chat, what do y'all think will happen with Brett Favre? Do you think he will go to prison for allegedly defrauding the state of Mississippi? Give me a yes or no.
It's just unfortunate that we lose one of our guys, and I didn't see the whole entire thing, but so. How about also Lattimore just doesn't retaliate? They always tend to retaliate. Not no. Why? Why they had the opportunity to video, see Winter for that. Why wasn't he? Yeah, why wasn't he? And then I come back and say sorry. Find a big deal. Yeah, big deal. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, they do. NFL ain't shit. Even in today's Saints game, they threw out Marshawn Lattimore when he was the one that was attacked by your Mike Evans, who was off the field. And Leonard Fournette, and I love Leonard. That is my St. Aug brother, but Leonard should have been thrown out of the game because he instigated the altercation that occurred, that brawl. But yeah, they always, I don't think it's that they hide the shit. I think they just, it's like it is what it is. Look at Big Ben. Look at Ben Roethlisberger. Brett Favre, Brett Favre is just great. John Madden, I love John Madden. John Madden, he got to smell the roses. He got to smell the roses before he passed. John Madden was the one who said I was something. But John Madden, he would be wrong if he kept praising Brett Favre, because Brett Favre, he's a scumbag. You're the lowest of the low. That means you're lower than dirt. That means you're lower than the earthworm. That means you're lower than frogs, Skip. You're lower than anything in the grass, Skip. If you're lower than the grass, something wrong with you. You're not there. Something wrong with you, Skip. You talking about that? I know you're talking about. It's on the tip of my tongue. They cut him. They didn't talk anything about it for Seattle. Don't forget the kicker. There was a kicker for the Giants that was accused of domestic abuse. Wheeler, Chad Wheeler. I don't know what happened to him. He's still awaiting trial. And he violated his court order removing his monitoring device, according to the prosecutor's office. You don't hear that much about it. Yeah, Wheeler. Yeah, the UFC fighter, he went to jail because the woman came forward, but that guy, War Machine, he actually raped and beat the crap out of his girlfriend. MMA fighter? Yeah, he's eligible for parole in 2053. He raped and assaulted his girlfriend Christine McIntyre. Yeah, they always be silent on this shit. Yeah, they swept it under the rug, but we're gonna wrap it up right quick. But before we wrap it up, I can take one call. So why don't we do that right quick? 504-656-6760. 504-656-6760. I'm gonna give you 1 minute to call in. So y'all need to, if you got a delay, y'all need to make your stuff live right now. Well, it's a violation of his bond condition if he removes the ankle monitor. He's supposed to have the ankle monitor on at all times, Darius. So I'm looking at the polls now. 4 of you voted. 75% of you say Brett Favre will not go to jail. One person says yes. So 25 to 75%.
Thanks, Michael. And did we mention that because we create the rings right here in our Metairie Road showroom, custom made actually costs you less? Amazing, but true. And we offer interest-free financing. There's a great work of art and a great value in every box from Oakland Heart.
Terminix, the official pest control company of the New Orleans Saints. Locally owned for over 70 years with humble beginnings on Pointer Street, will fix your pest and
Okay, nobody's got to say anything. No one's saying anything right now. Nobody's calling in. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the live stream. It's been on for like an hour and 30 minutes. I bet somebody's gonna call in right when I'm wrapping up the show. But I guess I'm gonna wrap up now. Let me just say, oh, this one, look who it is. I knew it. What's going on, Danielle? Gavin is doing just fine, but this is not Shannon Sharp talking to you. Shannon Sharp is doing great. So come on, tell me what you got to say, Skip. Mm-hmm. Phil Bryant. Phil Bryant. Yeah. Well, I'm more. My thing that's why I'm shocked more. I'm trying to wonder how much does it cost? Why does it cost even $1 million, let alone $50 to play volleyball? Who's playing volleyball in Mississippi? You're asking, is it a front? Uh, I don't. Some people saying they can't hear you because you're. Hold on, I understand. Hold on. One second. Okay. Um, I mean, yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. I don't know about everybody else, but Well, it could be, it could be, but I mean, from the text messages. All right, we're gonna have to set up a real phone system so everybody. Yeah, hold on. The text messages. So somebody says still muddled. Let me see. Oh, let me see if I can get you on there. Danielle, can you hear me? All right. The text messages. I don't know if anybody can still hear Danielle, but what I was saying is text messages are what is to me the most incriminating part. The text messages, I mean, lay out if you can, and obviously they can verify it's Brett Favre's phone number. All they would have to do is just run a trace and see who owns the phone. But I mean, it's there. When you looked at it, it very well looks like he very well could be in hot water for this, and it looks like he was complicit in it because he even asked the lady, Miss New, Nancy New, if the media could find out about it, which tells me already if you're inquiring about the media, you have obviously know what you're doing is shady. Now, yeah, that's him. Ted, D, Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase was the $1 million man, and he was DiBiase. Uh, I know he lives in Mississippi right now, so I believe yeah, that's him that was named in that. I didn't see that report. I'm sorry, I didn't follow this. Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Look what they're doing in that town, Mason, Tennessee, that black town where they tried to take over that. I don't know what happened with it, but they do things like this. Uh, Unfortunately, and when you don't have everything revolves around. You got to be real about this. What makes the world go round is money, and if you don't have money, you can't go. I mean, it's unfortunate, but you're not gonna go that far. You're not gonna be able to do whatever you want. You want to open a business, well, it takes money to start a business. You know, the biggest problem with the black community, especially black entrepreneurs, is that we have not, for years, we've been left out of obtaining capital to keep our businesses funded, our businesses in rotation, and that's the biggest problem we've had. And so that's why they keep black people from enjoying these things, enjoying things, and getting things like this. And you see this now. They call black people welfare queens. The biggest welfare queens and kings are white folks. It affects blacks in higher concentrations, but well, I knew this. I knew this from the beginning because 54% of whites use welfare. Welfare could be not just housing grants, but low income housing, but also your food stamps. That's considered welfare. I hear you.
Send over some River Parish disposal gators.
Thanks, brother. I
Well,
know I
look.
can count on River.
No, finish what you got to say. We got to wrap. We'll wrap it up. Yeah. All right, baby. Well, I appreciate you being on here. Thank you very much. All right, you always call back. Okay? You on? Take care of your. Tell your family I said hello. All right. Bye-bye. I always love it when Danielle drops by. So, with that being said, y'all, we're gonna roll out. Looks like the WNBA champions are the Las Vegas Aces. They won their first WNBA title. And then with that, we'll see y'all in the next one. Nobody watches WNBA skip. Everybody wants to see me. They watch more of me here on Fox 4 News skip than they would ever take time to watch WNBA. We're gonna wrap this one up, skip, because I'm Jay Sizzle, number 84. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna ask y'all to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We're gonna ask y'all skip. We want to ask them to donate to the Cash App, the PayPal, and Google Pay. And I want to thank the brothers and sisters that have donated to the Cash App later today. Because they love them to say Sizzle. They love them to Gboot. They love to see me tell the truth. Because that's how it's gotta go, skip. I want to give them a special shout out. I gotta give a special shout out to my brother, Darius from Atlanta and Melvin. I love y'all too. I want to thank y'all for supporting skip. I want to thank you too, Derek Bailey. You know you didn't drop nothing in the Cash App. I still thank you, brother. Danielle, everybody else who come in and tuned in on this Unspoken One, Red Sea, everybody. Phantom Beat, you got to smell the roses from Shannon Sharp. Gavin Sharp gave you the roses today, skip. He gave you the roses, brother. With that being said, go to Amazon Kindle right now and purchase the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby, Discussing the Due Process in the United States. It's available on Kindle. Also, go to knowledgegrillblends.com. You got to put it on your chicken, meat, or fish, because knowledge goes great with every dish. So Skip, he doesn't even like to read, he doesn't even like to vote, but I can guarantee you, knowledge goes great even with roast. Nice and soft down your palate. Of course, I'm not a meat eater. That's why I put it on my salad. Say, Sizzle got to keep the body straight, y'all. I got to keep these muscles up so I can bench press 500 again, Skip. Till I'm 55 years old. I'm going to be 60 soon, Skip. And I'm going to bench press 10. I'm going to bench press when I'm 90, Skip. I'm going to still be talking like this, Skip, when I'm 90, with no teeth in my mouth. I'm going to be talking like this, Skip, all the way through, Skip. Look, I can even put, that's how I tell, Skip. Without the dentures in my mouth, Skip. No dentures. So, with that being said, Skip, I need you to go. I got to get on up. That video's still on streaming platforms right now. We're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. It's time to play the music, y'all. Let's get on up. Up 84, 82, Sizzle.
Girl, come on.
Gotta dance beat. Cause on the dance floor is where we're at. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you're breathing, you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. Yeah, gotta get on the floor, baby. Come on, baby, gotta get on the floor, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor.
Get on up. Yep.